Thanks be to God. So, let me ask you a question to start off. Anybody here a leper? Any lepers? Anybody suffering from dread skin diseases? You don't have to raise your hand, really. Just I don't need to know that. It's more information than we need to know. But I didn't expect to find any lepers here, or hopefully no one with any dread skin disease. But when Jesus is talking here in Matthew, and when we're hearing the words from the Old Testament, from 2 Kings, we're talking about more than just having a skin disease or having leprosy. You know, it's easy to ask, I look out and say nobody has a major skin disease or has leprosy. The second question is, how many people have ever felt excluded from society? Right? How many people have been felt cut off from their community, or from God, or from happiness and joy? How many people have really felt that? I think, while no one's going to raise their hand about leprosy, I think everyone, probably at some point in time in their life, has felt a sense of being disconnected, a sense of being cut off. And so the two stories we have tonight talk about leprosy, but they talk really about being disconnected or cut off from society from different points of view. Both Naaman and the unnamed leper in Mark have this dread skin disease, and it's something which they don't want to have. It's for Naaman, it's embarrassing. It doesn't feel good. For the leper in Mark, it's something which has relegated him to being outside of society. The two stories we have tonight show us different ways in which people think God works to restore us to the community. Two different ways in which people look at the way God acts. And in both cases, possibly wrong ways of looking at how God acts. Not quite understanding what it is that God is doing. And we start off by talking about Naaman. Now, Naaman is no friend of Israel. Now, we know that he is a Syrian general, and that Syria has just been given a great victory over Israel. This is the enemy. How does Syria and Israel get along today? Yeah, right? Okay. Yeah, not terribly well, right? Things have not changed very much. And there is this great sense that this is a foreigner. This is someone who is not Jewish. This is someone who is not a believer, right? This is not someone who trusts in God. This is not someone who is a great righteous person in the eyes of guys of Israel. He's a great powerful general who is an enemy of Israel. And yet he's got a problem. Got a problem. And the little maid who has been taken as a slave from Israel, carted off to Syria, okay? This little slave girl says, oh, if only my master could go back to Samaria. There is a prophet who will cure him. Now, Naaman approaches this healing. He wants to be healed. He wants to be made well. And he approaches this healing the way a lot of people approach healing. They think that they have to do something which is going to earn God's favor. They're going to have to do something which is going to earn the prophet's favor. They're going to have to do something which is where they're buying what they have to get. So first of all, the first thing he does is he gets a letter of introduction from the king. Okay? He's relying on someone powerful. He's got an endorsement, right? Okay? And that's the way a lot, it said, boy, if I have that endorsement of somebody powerful and important, then things are going to be better for me. How well does that letter of endorsement work out? The letter of endorsement comes from the king of Syria to the king of Israel, says, I want you to heal this man. How does the king of Israel take that? He rips his clothes and says, oh, what are you trying to do? Pick a fight with me? I can't do anything. And the letter doesn't do a lot of good. What's the second thing he does? He loads up his band of chariots with all sorts of stuff. 10 changes of clothing, and this much gold, and this much silver, and everything. He's bringing all that wealth along with him. You know, if I just throw enough money at the problem, it's going to be all better. And sometimes if I just had my own personal wealth, but that's not what they're talking about. If I give all this wealth to God, He's going to bless me because I've paid for it. Remember the beggar who was confronted by the disciples? He said, "Can you give me something? The silver and gold have I none, but we're going to give you life." You know, so Naaman thinks that silver and gold are going to do him good stuff. That's the second thing. So in comes Naaman. He comes into Israel, and he comes to see the king, and the king is all distressed. And they say, "Well, why don't you go down and see the prophet?" The prophet Elijah says, "Come down to see me." So he comes down, and the third thing which he gets wrong is the servants come out and tell Naaman, "We want you to go and bathe in the River Jordan." He goes, "What? I was expecting that, you know, the prophet would come out and he'd say a special prayer and he'd wave his hands and, you know, do some sort of special ceremony." That's another problem. You know, it's the healing of God is not brought on by a special ceremony. It's not if you say the liturgy properly. It's not if you have to say this particular prayer this particular way, God is going to bless you. That's not what it is, because all those things, money, and prestige and ritual, are all things which we do. Okay? Like we do it to earn it. The gift which God pours out on us is not something which we earn. It is a free gift which God gives to us. All He wants is faith. Aren't the rivers back in Syria just as good as the river Jordan? Well, certainly. They've both got water, right? Okay? If the whole point was just to get in the water, he's right. The point is, the prophet said, have some faith and you go get in that water. Do what I tell you to do. Follow my direction. Do what I tell you to do. And what's he do? He gets in the water, right? And he is healed because he did what he was supposed to do. A free gift to him. Afterwards, he tries to pay for it. Take what I got. No. That's not what it's about. It's not about all of those things which we think of. That God wants to cleanse us. He wants to restore us. He wants to heal us. He wants to heal us of those physical things. It's a literal physical healing. And He also wants to heal us spiritually from all of those things which separate us from one another and from God, and the things which pull us down, the demons which are inside us, the things which pull us in all sorts of directions. He wants to cleanse us. And we can't buy it. We can't get it from being the bishop or whatever, getting a title. We can't get it by following a ritual. We get it by a free gift from God, by faith, right? By faith and stepping out and acting in faith, which is what He wants us to do. Our second story, a little different. We have Jesus is walking along, and a leper comes to Him, kneels down, and says, "If you want to, you can heal me." Okay? Now, Jesus, as a Jewish person at the time, not supposed to be touching lepers. The lepers aren't supposed to be coming near Him. They're not supposed to be anywhere near it. They're supposed to be out there. So the leper, Jesus is walking along in the countryside, and that's where the outcasts are. Okay, so think of this. Think of some spiritual geography here. You know, in the town is where you're connected to the community, where you're connected to other people, where you're connected to God, where you are where you're supposed to be in the town. Outside, that's where you're disconnected. Okay, so you're out in the country, you're disconnected, you've been banished. Remember, a lot of times you see in the Old Testament how people are banished from the city. They have to go out and be out of the community. That's where the lepers are. They're out of the community. Jesus is walking around outside there, and he's confronted by one of these people who is out there. Now, this man comes to him and says, if you want to, you can heal me. Basically saying, Jesus, I want you to do what I want you to do. He comes to him asking for that. Now, it says that Jesus had pity on him. Had pity on him. Now, some versions say he was angry with him. I'm not sure how you have both ways of looking at it, but it says he had pity on him. And Jesus said, I want to be clean. The man had to do nothing else. He asked. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find, right? He stepped out in faith and asked. If you want it, you will be able to heal me. Lord, I want this. I want to feel this. Jesus touches him. Jesus goes and puts his hand on him, and the man is made clean. Now, generally, when you have an infectious disease, what's the last thing someone should be doing to someone who has an infectious disease? Touching them, right? When something is dirty, okay, or unclean, or if it is contagious, it infects everything else, right? Think of it this way: if you have a cup of dirty water, right, and a cup of clean water, right? If you want to make that dirty water clean, do you pour the clean water into it? Will that make it clean? No. But if you want to make the clean water dirty, you just pour the dirty water into that, right? A little dirt will just infect everything, right? Do an experiment. Next time you have a nice load of whites, throw something pink in and see what happens, right? I think that'll be a good experiment, and then you can come back and tell us what happened, right? You do that.
I don't know about pink.
So, right?
I yelled at it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. So that's the point. You don't put the one thing which is dirty or colored or whatever it is. You don't put it in with the clean stuff because it's going to make everything else dirty. That's why the leper is outside the community, because if the leper touches you or you touch the leper, you're going to get the contamination, right? What happens with Jesus? Just the opposite, okay? Because Jesus is just the opposite kind of contagion. When he touches him, what happens to the man? He becomes clean, right? So when you have clean touching dirty, the clean cleans. That's what Jesus is. The holy can go and touch you and make you clean. Can transform you. That's what Jesus is all about. He wants to come in and touch you and change your life and transform you. It's not something you pay for. It's not something you earn. It's not something you get through prestige or doing rituals. It's getting on your knees saying, I need your help. I need your help. Well, that's what I'm saying in Psalm 30 today. Help me, O Lord, right? Isn't that what the whole Psalm 30 was about today? Help me, O Lord. I called to you, Lord. I begged for help, right? That's what it's about. Getting down on your knees and begging God for help, and the clean touches you and you are made clean. Now Jesus, when he touches him, he is now ritually unclean, right? But Jesus is wholly clean. He is made clean. He has made this man clean. And what happens after that? Jesus tells him, don't say anything, right? Don't go and tell anybody. For goodness sake, he sternly tells him, don't go tell anything. Does the guy listen to him? No. No, he doesn't. And he goes into the town, and what do you think happens in the town? It's